Have you ever looked around at everything, the stars, the world, the screen you're looking at right now, and wondered if any of it is actually real? What if it's all just an incredibly complex projection, a hologram generated by some kind of hidden cosmic code? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a movie, but a radical new theory suggests that our reality might be exactly that, an illusion. And if it's right, it could turn our entire understanding of the universe on its head.
So, it all starts with one of the biggest headaches in modern physics. We look out into space, and we see that all the galaxies are flying away from each other. But here's the weird part. They're speeding up. To explain this, scientists basically invented a placeholder called dark energy. But let's be honest, nobody really knows what it is. This new theory, though, it asks a totally different question. What if the universe isn't expanding at all? What if what we're seeing is just a grand cosmic illusion?
To even start to get our heads around that, we have to look in a place you'd never expect. Not out at the stars, but in a math textbook. I'm talking about prime numbers. You know, 2, 3, 5, 7, the ones you learned in school. Well, the theory we're digging into today says that seemingly random sequence of numbers isn't random at all. It might be the literal source code for the fabric of reality itself.
Okay, so the central idea here is something called the Prime Wave Lattice. I want you to completely forget the idea of empty space. Just erase it from your mind. Instead, picture an invisible geometric scaffolding that holds up the entire universe. And it's not just sitting there, it's a standing wave, a constant vibration. And the precise rhythm of that vibration is dictated by the sequence of prime numbers.
But wait, prime numbers seem pretty chaotic, right? So how do you get a predictable structure from them? Well, the trick is, you don't look at each individual prime number. You kind of zoom out and look at their average distribution. And when you do that, all the chaos just smooths out, and you get this perfectly predictable wave. You can think of it as the universe's fundamental hum, its baseline carrier signal.
But here's where it gets really interesting. We know the actual gaps between prime numbers aren't uniform at all. They're all over the place. And this real-world chaos adds these tiny little ripples on top of that smooth fundamental wave. So suddenly, space-time isn't some boring flat sheet anymore. It has a texture. It has a complex, intricate geometry. And that texture is going to become really, really important. Okay, so we've got this invisible, textured lattice vibrating everywhere. So what? How does that create the solid stuff we see all around us? I mean, if space is just a complex wave, where do atoms and planets and, well, us, come from? The answer, this theory says, is wave interference. And it means that matter itself is a hologram.
You know how a normal hologram works, right? You shine a laser through a flat 2D pattern, and poof, a 3D image appears. This theory says the universe is doing the exact same thing, just on a cosmic scale. The little ripples in that prime lattice are interfering with each other, creating these incredibly complex patterns. And when one of those patterns becomes stable and reinforces itself, it projects what our senses perceive as a solid 3D particle. Matter isn't really a thing. It's just a stable projection.
And apparently, this isn't random. The theory claims that creating a stable particle is kind of like tuning an old radio. You have 4 very specific dials. 2 of them control the background lattice, and the other 2 control the wave for the object itself. If you get all 4 settings tuned to the exact right frequencies, boom, you get stable matter. But if even one of them is just a tiny bit off, the projection fails. You get nothing.
So the key takeaway here is this complete reversal of cause and effect. We usually think that matter creates gravity, that it structures the universe. This theory says we've got it completely backwards. The invisible geometric lattice comes first. Matter is just the resonant output. It's a stable vibration that pops into existence when that underlying structure hums at just the right note.
Okay, I know this all sounds incredibly abstract. It sounds like pure science fiction, right? But this is the point where it gets real. See, unlike a lot of grand theories of everything, this one makes a concrete, testable prediction, something that can be proven or disproven in a lab right now. It predicts the existence of a brand new, super heavy element.
So here's the showdown. Our current rulebook for physics, the standard model, it predicts something called an island of stability. It's a spot on the periodic table where super heavy elements might actually last for more than a split second. The standard model says that island should be right around element 114. But this new holographic model, using the math from those prime number ripples, says, nope, you're looking in the wrong place. It predicts the real island of stability is much further up the chart, at element 122. And it gets even more specific than that.
The theory actually pinpoints the exact version of element 122 that should be the most stable. It predicts that an isotope with a total of 318 protons and neutrons will be double magic, an exceptionally stable configuration. So think about it. If physicists manage to create this specific element and it lasts way longer than current physics thinks it should, that would be massive evidence that this whole holographic idea might just be right.
All right, so with a testable prediction on the table, let's circle all the way back to that cosmic mystery we started with, the apparently accelerating universe. Because this is where the theory provides its most mind-bending solution, not just for dark energy, but for its mysterious cousin, dark matter, as well. The theory calls this process dimensional decay, and it completely flips our perspective on its head. The core idea? The universe is not expanding, it's shrinking. The theory suggests that as our universe gets older, it loses a kind of energetic resonance, causing the entire fabric of reality to slowly condense, to settle inward, almost like sediment falling to the bottom of a lake.
So why on earth does it look like things are flying away from us? It's because our fundamental measuring stick, the atom itself, is shrinking right along with the rest of the universe. And because the math of the prime numbers dictates it, the rate of that shrinkage is accelerating over time. So everything is getting smaller, faster, which creates the perfect illusion that distant things are moving away. Dark energy isn't some mysterious force pushing things apart. It's just an illusion caused by our own ruler changing size.
And what about dark matter? You know, the mysterious invisible mass that holds galaxies together. The theory has a really elegant answer for that too. It's the ghost weight of previous universes, previous layers of reality that have already gone through this dimensional decay. They've shrunk down so much they no longer interact with light, but their mass is still there, sharing our same space and pulling on things with gravity.
So the final piece of the puzzle is, how do atoms actually stay connected to this shrinking lattice? The theory uses this fascinating analogy from meteorology called the Fujiwara effect. It's when two hurricanes get close and lock into a spin around each other. The theory suggests something similar happens here. The atom is like one vortex, and the spacetime lattice is another. When their rotational frequencies match up, they lock in. And this means an atom can only stay stable as long as it stays perfectly in sync with the shrinking, accelerating rhythm of spacetime.
And that leaves us with one last staggering thought. The math suggests this whole process of dimensional decay isn't a one-time thing. It happens in layers, as many as 63 of them. Our entire universe could just be one layer in a vast cosmic coral reef, the calcified remains of a previous, higher energy dimension. Which just makes you wonder, what were those other layers like, and what will ours become?